What are Divine Shenhe's biggest pros and cons? That's what I'm here to tell you today. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. This Divine Damsel of Devastation is an absolutely fantastic cryo support. She's really well suited to these teams, and has been one of the most solid slot-ins for comps revolving around the element for quite some time now. She's able to provide some hefty benefits after all. Her icy cools can add on plenty of damage, and to any sort of cryo-based playstyle as well. She's able to offer up to 15% extra damage bonus for bursts, skills, plunges, and normals based on whether you press or hold her elemental skill as well. Shenhe is also able to provide you 15% extra cryo damage bonus if you manage to stay within her burst's field range, and is capable of increasing your team's overall damage output if you stick around something like 4-piece Noblesse. Considering how high value attack buffs are within freeze and mono cryo teams, that's pretty nifty. That's another thing. I personally suggest using 4-piece Noblesse over 2-piece attack on Shenhe. Yes, it'll lower the attack that you see on her, but your team will do more damage overall. She's especially fantastic for Ayaka teams. She's really able to amp up the big damage blasts that Ayaka does with her burst. Escoffier Ramsey is better, but considering how smooth their synergy is with one another, I felt that this was worth mentioning. And yes, she bodes well with units such as our lovely Kokogo Ganyu, and of course Rio Beastly. I should also mention that while Shenhe herself does have high ER requirements, if you stick around a Favonius Lance, then her white particle generation for the entire team is quite nice. Otherwise, if you've retired your Shangling due to Moeka being in the picture now and have a spare Engulfing Lightning, your electrifying purple pole can find new use in the hands of Shenhe. Also, since you'll usually be playing her with other cryos, the energy economy won't be that bad, especially in mono cryo teams. You'll basically be fine there. There's also the fact that she's most likely going to end up being one of Skirk's best in slot premium teammates, if you intend to play her as an on-field main DPS. DPS Skirk is really going to enjoy her buffs. The full premium team that I can envision becoming meta would be the Abyss Lady herself, our dearest Hydro Archon, Shenhe, and to top it all off, Escoffier Ramsey. All those delicious cryos on one silver platter. So if you're somebody that really wants to go all in on Skirk, and you want to have her best in slot premium team, then you might want to look into picking up a copy of Shenhe, as I find it highly likely that these two are going to go well together. Now if you're on the fence when it comes to pulling for her because you're a Skirk fan but you're a little concerned as to whether you'd actually be able to pick her up, well, I say this, don't worry too much. Because Shenhe is not the unit that Skirk is seriously going to need, Escoffier is. The Divine Damsel will be a splendid boost for sure, but not necessary. I think that's a pretty good middle ground to have. A fantastic option, but not a needed one. Nevertheless, I count her being one of Skirk's potential best teammates as a pro. I personally expect Skirk to become the new best cryo DPS on the whole. I'd be pretty surprised if she wasn't. So being a puzzle piece in the best cryo DPS's team sounds like a pretty sweet deal to me. Speaking of sweets, this video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat. What is this splendid box, you may ask? Well, Tokyo Treat is a monthly subscription box that sends out delicious popular Japanese goodies right to your very own home, allowing you to keep up with Japan's currently trending flavors. The snacks are fun, special, and offer a snacking experience unlike any other. Every month, you'll always be sent a rare Kit Kat flavor, limited edition chips, noodles, and the hottest treats from Japan right to your doorstep. Let's get right into the review. We've got a wide variety of snacks to work with this month's theme being centered around Japanese konbini. There's plenty of variety, but we should certainly start with the unique matcha-flavored Kit Kats. Splendid! They've got that delicious chocolatey crunch that we love in a Kit Kat, while also featuring a tasty matcha kick. It's unlike any other Kit Kat that I've had before, 100% a must-try. It's an absolute delight. Let's now give the mini melon pan biscuits a go. Now that is a delicious biscuit. It's very soft, and the flavor spreads through your mouth in such a delightful way. It's a fun way to eat melon bread too, in this cute little bite-sized form. I really enjoyed this. I'm a big fan of biscuit-like cakey sweets, so this is right up my alley. Speaking of cake, we need to try the Baumkuchen Earl Grey cake. I'm a cake enjoyer through and through after all. Now that is delicious. It's soft, sweet, and offers a unique way to enjoy this type of cake. Personally, I'm a very big fan. My favorite snack out of this month's box is 100% the Baumkuchen. Take it from me, I love a good cake. Tokyo Treat also features a lovely cultural magazine, where you're able to find out fun facts about some of the mascots featured on the snacks, or general trivia about popular Japanese snacks. It's also important to note that this is where you'll find all allergen information and ingredient listings in English, so it serves as a guide manual too. Very handy to own. Come buy your own Tokyo Treat box today, using the affiliate link that'll be in both the pinned comment and the description of this video. We can enjoy all the best tasty Japanese treats together. I'd also like to briefly give a shout out to Chaska Shenhe teams. By using her hold skill, you're able to boost the damage that Chaska's cryo-infused bullet charge attack does. It's a pretty funky unique synergy that wouldn't immediately come to mind at first thought. I think it's pretty cool though. Also, it's unironically not half bad. Sit Lolly's obviously going to be better if you have her, but it's still cool that you're able to run such a funky team as a viable option. It's a fun alternative way to use her. I also seriously have to give Shenhe a shout out for getting an absolutely insane value boost in recent times. We can mostly thank the molding chef for this, since she retroactively boosted Shenhe's value. How, you may ask? Simple. This lovely lady is a dedicated niche cryo support. That sentence alone should explain why pre-5.6, there just wasn't much reason to use Shenhe. She was fantastic if you were an Ayaka main, but the Kamisato lady was already not performing too hot at the time, and was otherwise kind of falling into irrelevancy, outside of that one silly Chaska team I suppose. But now that crowd teams are actually relevant again, Shenhe is now seeing the light of day once more. Granted, you do need Escoffier in the team, but that molding chef is basically the key to playing any sort of crowd-based team these days, so if you meet that condition, then you're sorted. Her value is only going to rise more when Skirk releases, so investing into her is no longer a silly thing to do, since the element she supports actually appears to have a viable future in the meta now. Alas, as gorgeous as our divine damsel may be, she does indeed come with her own set of flaws, such as being a niche support, as in, she's a niche unit that can technically be replaced by another character that supports the same variety of teams as her. Escoffier's release was as much of a blessing to Shenhe's value as much as it was a curse, because honestly, you really don't need Shenhe. You genuinely can get by just fine by simply using Escoffier. She's the real key that makes Cryo a viable playstyle these days. Shenhe's definitely a nice boost, but to be honest, there's quite a few situations in which you could be playing crowd-based teams and not have Shenhe invited to the party whatsoever. For example, let's say that you're playing Ayaka. You could be playing a team of Ayaka, Lady Farina, Shilunen, and Escoffier. Shenhe's just nowhere to be seen there. And sure, you could indeed use Shenhe to replace Shilunen, that'd make your team building easier. Or you could just use Kazuha instead, a much more universal support that a lot of people already have. And that'd achieve the same effect of freeing up your DJ Cat. You get the idea. Shenhe's not really a core integral unit within these teams. She's definitely nice to have around because she can be very strong here, but as long as you have Escoffier, you're kind of sorted. And sure, she is definitely going to be very good for Skirk. I can 100% see that, especially considering that Skirk is a unit that doesn't want to play with any non-Cryo or Hydro teammates. So in that case, you're able to take full advantage of Shenhe. Or, because Skirk is a normal attacking DPS that is able to trigger procs-based units, you can easily just use Yolan instead. Another much more versatile 5-star that plenty of people have. And you're still going to do just fine in that scenario, because Skirk doesn't really need Shenhe. Cryo in general doesn't really need Shenhe. I think the best way to put it is that you get her if you're somebody like myself, a really big Cryo fan. You absolutely love the element, you don't care how bad it's been these past few years, and you're absolutely delighted at the fact that now it's usable again. Then you can invest into Shenhe, and she'll feel like a pretty good investment, because she's still always going to remain as a pretty decent buffer. If you're just constantly throwing Cryo teams out, then she will be good. But in most of the teams where you're able to slot her in, she's very easily replaceable. And that brings me on to my next point. Exactly that. She's easily replaceable. We both know that Escoffier is the true key to playing Cryo. If you're somebody that missed out on the molding chef in hopes of putting Shenhe in there instead, it's just not gonna be as good. Whoever's packed that chef's kit full of fresh ingredients, because that's just what Cryo needed. And as for Shenhe, while she is indeed a unique character and she can certainly do a lot for these Cryo teams, she just can't compete with what Escoffier provides. But okay, we're thinking about playing them together, both of them within the same team. Then like I already said, you're really just using Shenhe to replace some of her more versatile unit that you could put in her place. It's not like you'd be strapped for options without her, and while I do feel like she's definitely going to be good with characters like Skirk, I'm not really expecting some big performance loss if you don't have a Divine Maiden. And that brings me on to highlighting this very particular thing that I really want to drive home. Escoffier is just more important. I mean, I've already said it plenty of times now, but I really just want to drill it home as its own separate point. Escoffier is just way more important for Cryo. There is no point in getting this character. I'm telling you now, no point in pulling for Shenhe if you don't have the chef, because at that point, you just should not be playing Cryo teams. Take it from me, I'm very highly invested in Cryo. I love the element. But it was a very bricked archetype pre-5.6 for a reason, because it needed that unit in order to be good again. So I'm just gonna say it flat out right now, if you don't have Escoffier, there is literally no reason to get Shenhe. Now there is one particular scenario in which yes, I can see you getting her. That will be if you didn't manage to get Escoffier, but you do want to get her on rerun, and you still want to pull for Skirk, who is coming up soon. You intend to main Skirk, and you want to put all of your Primogems towards her. In that case, getting Shenhe does make sense, because you're just picking up a part of her best in slot team, and then you'll get Escoffier later on. But if you never plan on getting the chef, I would just drop any and all plans to pick up Shenhe. It's harsh, but it's true. And then there's the fact that Shenhe's Constellations just aren't all that crazy anymore by modern standards. They were decent for their time, but nowadays, yeah, once again, you would rather just get Escoffier Constellations or invest Constellations into your crowd DPS. I will actually give credit where credit's due to her C1 because it does help out for Icy Quill's limitations, and this is especially important for Ayaka mains. Essentially, at C0, Ayaka's burst is going to consume all of Shenhe's Icy Quills before her burst ends. So unfortunately, the full burst is not getting buffed. However, with C1, you're able to tap twice during the full burst, so you're able to buff much more of it. I'm not sure how relevant that's going to be to Skirk mains, but for Ayaka mains, it is relevant. But otherwise, it's not really all that useful, but it is nice for reducing her own ER requirements. And her C2, it is nice that it makes her burst longer, that is actually pretty solid, but the increased crit damage, it's good, but it's not crazy. There's honestly a lot better that you can get nowadays. I'd like to compare it to Escoffier. Her C1 gives 60% crit damage. 60% at C1 compared to 15% at C2. And the thing with Escoffier's C1 is that it applies to Hydro teammates as well, so that means that you're buffing up the likes of Lady Farina and Jalan as well. So while Shenhe's C1 is a case-by-case basis, it can be useful for you, I just wouldn't bother with the C2 anymore. And anything beyond that, unless you're the biggest Shenhe simp on the planet, just don't. Credit where credit's due, I do think that Calamity Queller aged pretty well. It ended up being a pretty decent option for most polearm users, and it's actually not that far behind Escoffier's own signature weapon on her in terms of personal damage. But once again, this is just another invest in Escoffier moment. Unfortunately, as much as I love Shenhe, like I really do like this character, there's just not that much reason to invest into her these days. She definitely has her positive qualities, and I do think that getting her for Skirk is a completely fair choice. But I would say that this is my advice to you. Shenhe does have value, but it's very, very case by case. Evaluate whether she would actually help your specific situation or not, and if not, then I would honestly skip and just save for Escoffier's next banner. Listen, I've been in the Cryo coal mines for quite a while now, and let me tell you this now, if you don't have the Molding Chef, she is not going to be this big Cryo savior on your account. But how about yourself? Are you going to be pulling for her anyway, or is it a skip for you? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I have a second channel in which I post pretty much whatever. PGR, ZZZ, just random gacha game stuff. Head on over and subscribe if you're interested in some random yap. It's mostly just fun, silly content over there. Hopefully this video was able to tell you Shenhe's biggest pros and cons. This has been Juice, signing out, and I feel like Hoyoverse really needs to update the Chronicled Wish banner rules. I just don't get it anymore.